Hello aspirants, welcome to AQ by AS YouTube channel. This session is another episode of our quick revision series Prelims Atulya. I'm expecting that you must have already watched our last session, which was on Mauryan Empire. If you haven't watched it, then please go ahead and watch that session because that's very important from the prelims perspective. Now Gupta Empire, this is also equally important, and in this session we'll try to cover all significant aspects of Gupta Empire. Now as far as the sources are concerned, we have plenty of sources which help us to understand about Gupta Empire. We have literary sources, epigraphical sources and archaeological sources. Here I would like to mention about Devichandraguptam and Mudhrakshasam. These literary works were written by Vishakadatta, and these literary works provide information regarding the rise of Guptas. Now famous Chinese traveler Fahien, who visited India during the reign of Chandragupta II, he left a valuable account of the social, economic and religious conditions of the Gupta Empire. So we get valuable information from the account of traveler Fahien also. Now the most important source, and this source is particularly important when we are studying about Chandragupta. Here I'm talking about Allahabad pillar inscription. So from this inscription we get valuable and very important information regarding Chandragupta. So from this inscription we get to know about his military achievements, his relationship with other contemporary rulers, and so on. So this inscription, you can remember, it might be asked in the prelims, Allahabad pillar inscription, it is related to Chandragupta. Now let's talk about Chandragupta first. So although the founder of Gupta dynasty was Sri Gupta and he was succeeded by Ghatotkacha, but the real founder was Chandragupta. Why? Because of his extensive conquest. And he was a very capable and a shrewd ruler. He strengthened his position by a matrimonial alliance. So he was a very capable ruler, and he is considered to be the real founder of Gupta Empire. Now we have Mehrauli iron pillar inscription, and we get the details about Chandragupta first from this Mehrauli iron pillar inscription. So remember, Allahabad inscription is related to Chandragupta and Mehrauli iron pillar inscription is related to Chandragupta. Now Chandragupta first was succeeded by Chandragupta, the most important ruler of Gupta Empire. And when we study about Chandragupta, then we get awe-struck by his military achievements. So his military achievements can be studied in 3 stages. First campaign he launched in the Gangetic plain. So he gained complete mastery, he gained complete control over the north upper Gangetic valley. After that he marched against the South Indian rulers. Although he did not destroy or annex those kingdoms, but he defeated them and he gave back their kingdoms. And the third stage, he eliminated the left or remaining North Indian rivals. So from the military perspective, he had achieved a lot. So that's why he's considered, he's also known as Indian Napoleon. Now Allahabad inscription has some other information about Chandragupta, about his poetic skills and his interest in music. In fact, his image depicting him with Veena is found in the coins issued by him. And he was an ardent follower of Vaishnavism, so you can remember this point as well. Now, Chandragupta was succeeded by his son Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya. He called himself Vikramaditya. So, he inherited the military genius of his father, he extended the Gupta Empire, and he was also a very shrewd ruler. He also strengthened his political power via matrimonial alliances. So, he used the policy of diplomacy and warfare. Now you must know something very important here, that the greatest of the military achievements of Chandragupta was his war against the Sarkar satraps. In fact, he defeated Rudrasimha III, the last ruler of Sarkar satraps. So this is very important point. You must remember that he conquered the western part. He defeated Rudrasimha III, the last ruler of Sarkar satraps. In fact, after the victory, he performed the whole sacrifice, and that is when he assumed the title Vikramaditya. He called himself the destroyer of Sarkars. Now let me put some light on the trade aspect of Gupta Empire. Now since Chandragupta II conquered the western part, so western boundary reached to the Arabian Sea. So this thing enabled the Gupta Empire to control trade with the Western countries. And remember, Ujjain became an important commercial city, and soon it became the alternative capital of the Guptas also. Now, as far as the power and glory of Gupta Empire is concerned, it reached its peak under the rule of Chandragupta II. It means Vikramaditya. And here remember that he patronized great literary figure Kalidasa. And because of what he achieved from the cultural perspective, because of the cultural progress, Gupta period achieved a lot under his reign. There was this magnificent cultural progress. That's why his period is also known as the golden age of Gupta Empire. Now Chandragupta II was succeeded by Kumaragupta. And as far as Kumaragupta is concerned, just remember the point that he laid the foundation of Nalanda University. Although he was also an achiever, he issued a number of coins, and his reign was marked by a general peace and prosperity. But the important point from the exam's perspective is that he laid the foundation of Nalanda University. Now let's try to know about Gupta administration. So during those times, king was assisted by a council consisting of a chief minister. And there are few names that you must know. First name is Kumaramatyas. King maintained a close contact with provincial administration through a class of officials called Kumaramatyas and Ayugattas. So these names are important from prelims perspective. Here you can remember that provinces were known as Bhuktis and provincial governors were known as Uparikas. So these names you can go through the slide. These are very, very important from the prelims perspective. Now let's try to analyze the social life during those times. So as far as the Varna system is concerned, it became extremely rigid, and Brahmins occupied the top ladder of the society. And here you can note that practice of untouchability had slowly begun during this period. And position of women had also become miserable during this period. In fact, Manu Smriti suggested the early marriage of girls during those times. Now from the exam's perspective, especially I have included this slide so that I could tell you about Fahien account. His views are very, very important from the prelims perspective. Now according to Fahien's account, there was no state interference in the individual life. He said Gupta administration was extremely mild and benevolent. There was no spy system, and imposing a fine was a common punishment in those times. And he also mentioned that people were generally prosperous and the crimes were negligible. Now, in the end, we'll try to know about the art and architecture. This section probably holds the most significance as far as the exam is concerned. So remember, Nagara and Dravidian styles of art evolved during this period. And here you can remember about temple at Devgarh. This is also very important, near Jhansi. Although in those times there wasn't any influence of Gandhara art, but we found a beautiful statue of a standing Buddha at Mathura, which reveals a little Greek style. So this is what you can remember. Now here I would like to mention about a copper statue of Buddha, which was found at Sultanganj. This is also very important, you can remember. And then about paintings of Gupta period, you can remember about Bagh caves, because paintings of the Gupta period can be seen at Bagh caves. And then mural paintings of Ajanta, you get to know about the life of Buddha, because life of Buddha has been depicted through Jataka stories. Now let's have a little idea about literature as well. So Sanskrit language became prominent during Gupta period. Numerous works in classical Sanskrit came to be written in the forms of epic, lyrics, drama and prose. So you can remember that Sanskrit language became extremely prominent during the Gupta period. Here I would like to mention about Harisena. He was patronized by Samudragupta and he adorned Samudragupta's court. And as far as Chandragupta II is concerned, his court was adorned by Kalidasa, as we discussed earlier. And here everybody knows his masterpiece of Kalidasa, that is Shakuntala. So you can remember all these literary works. These are very, very important from prelims perspective. Here I would like to mention about Vishakadatta, which was written by Subhandu, very important literary work. Then about Dandin, who was the author of Kavya Darsa and Dasa Kumara Charita. Okay, so you can remember about Sudraka as well. So I have provided the content and we have included all these important points which are very important from your prelims perspective. So you can download this PPT, you can revise these notes, and for the revision purpose you can watch this video again and again. And if you haven't watched our erstwhile videos, you can also watch them for the revision. And if you have liked our video, then you can subscribe our YouTube channel. And if you are happy with our initiative, you can mention your comments in the comment section. And you can follow us on our social media platforms for daily current affairs content. So this is Sumit Sharma. I'm signing off. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.